This looks like a good place to document what I'm thinking and feeling in the present moment. Immediately changes how you're thinking and feeling in the present moment when you're perched somewhere like this. There's still so much cool shit to see over there. This is actually where I filmed heaps of stuff for the Get Lost and Find Yourself video. Like the echidna was like over somewhere on that headland over there. Like I think there were a couple of echidnas in it. Heaps of wildlife, heaps of nature, heaps of Australia. Like really what this place is what I was going for. Yeah, it's such a beautiful day. This is what I want to do. It's another one of those days where I'm just like, this is it. I like passed out in the sun, so I'm a little bit sunburnt already in the middle of the day. It just felt so good, and like laying in the hot sand and listening to the ocean it puts you into a totally different world. Like, just like my imagination and like my inner world is just like so flowy and like interesting. Like, and laying in the earth as well, I think adds to it. Like you're like as close to the earth as you can be. And it's just like this big warm hug from the world. That's what I've described it as. I just love it. Yeah, last time I was here was for the 1770 festival. It was like a reconciliation festival, and they invited heaps of like white politicians to take responsibility for like all the damage that colonization has done on this country. So it was like the first of its kind. They might do it every year or something like that. And I went to that with the HK crew, so yeah, it was really cool. It's probably at like, yeah, the peak of my like doing heaps of healing work and trying to figure it all out. Same thing last time I was here. I just laid down in the sand and just like sort of went into that sleepy, dreamy place for ages, and just woke up feeling like really good, like really like recharged and restored, and like just like if creative juices were like something that you could buy from the store and drink, or like you could, yeah, like I just felt like I'd been filled up with like creativity and inspiration. This place sort of does that to me. And it's a pretty far out of the way. Like if you're going down the coast, adds an extra hour or hour and a half to your trip if you're going to go to Bundaberg as well. But it's worth it. And usually, like I said in the other one, this is a campsite, but there's no camping at the moment. But I'll find somewhere to sleep, and I'll probably come back if I have to go out of town. I'll probably come back into town tomorrow and just go explore a little bit more. Just enjoy this place, because this place feels really good. It's like one of my favorite spots so far. There's places further up north that I haven't journaled at, but they're in the big video of the whole, like the Get Lost and Find Yourself video. There's some places up north that like really take my breath away, and really like I could just stay there, perch there for a long time and be very content. I was thinking like moving there at one point, like basing myself up in like North Queensland. So it's warmer. So the way that I explain it to people who have been to Gold Coast and Melbourne, so when Melbourne people come to the Gold Coast, they're like, this is the best thing ever. It's so warm, it's so nice here. When Gold Coast people go to Cairns, they have that same feeling. Like Cairns is like the next level of warm, tropical, abundant, like fruit on every single fruit tree, like just, and that's like all year round. Like their winter is like our summer kind of thing, and it's real nice. But the only trade-off is there's crocodiles, and I think also a lot worse stingers in the ocean, like jellyfish and blue bottles and irukandji. I don't know what's out there, but I know like the warmer and the more tropical the climate gets, the more hectic the stingers get, generally, like at least in this country. And when we get a really warm summer, like even on the Gold Coast, some of the real deadly stingers will end up like coming down more further south, and then it's scary times. But I always go in the water anyway. If it's like flooded with blue bottles and everywhere that you look you just see stingers, I get out. But like if there's one or two, just keep your eyes open, right? You can see blue bottles at least. You can't see irukandji. They're just like real small and translucent. Yeah. Just perched on this rock, this beautiful location. And like there were people here before, but they've already left. It's like a pretty quiet spot. Not a lot of people come through, although it is like a weekday. Maybe on the weekend it'll be a bit busier. But I think this is more like a tourist town, like a touristy kind of place. I don't know who really lives here. There's a few places like that, where you're just like, wow, imagine like living there. Like Kuranda, when I was up there. That's where I first like really was like far out. Like it's like a rainforest, like just really beautiful rainforest, tucked away, small community, like really magical. And yeah, it's like when you go to those places where people just go for a visit, like most people just go for a visit, it's like, well, where my parents lives like that, like down north coast of New South Wales, it's like they went on holidays there. We always go on family holidays there all the time. And then I guess there's a tipping point where you're just like, you know what, we love this place so much. Why don't we just like stop wasting all our money leaving and coming back and just set up base camp here? That's what we did at Kira too. When I was living at Kira, went on like every weekend would drive like 40 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. Just spend the weekend, like spend the day at the beach at Kira. And then it's just like, why don't we just live there? And the funniest thing is you think, oh, it's out of reach. Like your dream location, like your dream apartment or your dream home. You're like, oh, it'll be too expensive because it's supply and demand, you know? Everybody wants to live in the most beautiful place. But then like when we looked at it, it wasn't even that expensive. There was actually places cheaper than where we were at in the area. We didn't get a place cheaper. We got the like most perfect, amazing place ever. But yeah, it was one of those moments where like, because you've just made this assumption and then it's turned into a belief, like it'll be too expensive in my dream location. Like you haven't bothered to actually check. So you've spent like all this time in your life not having what you really want. So the big lesson from that is like, check. Like see if what you want is possible before you tell yourself you can't have it. That goes for everything. Like give it a red hot go. See what happens. Get rejected. Get turned down. Find out that it's actually way harder than you thought, and then you can give up. Don't give up before you've even tried. Or don't like pre-give up. Like what we did was like, we didn't even give up. We just assumed that there was no point trying at all. Like that's worse. But yeah, at least we figured it out in the end. Anything. You can create anything. Even if it was more expensive there, we could have figured it out. You know, you can figure it out. Anything that you want, you can have. Like you can get there if you're willing to change, if you're willing to work on yourself or work on things outside of yourself as well. Like work hard for money and stuff like that if you really want it. But I think what a lot of people realize is if they're honest with themselves and they're really trying to figure out like what's going to make them happy in life, is you think you want shit, but you don't actually want it. If you wanted it, you would get it, like in a lot of cases. If you wanted to be like in a really good relationship, you'd be in a really good relationship. If you wanted to have a mansion on the beach, nah, that's pushing it, isn't it? Well, is it? You know? If you wanted to live in your dream location, even if you didn't live in a mansion, you just lived in like a studio apartment that's like the cheapest place on the block, you could do it if you wanted to. See, that would just be the first compromise. Like, I don't get to live in a 6-bedroom house, but I can live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I can afford that. Like, you start to compromise and shit. So like, how many people like do that vision board thing where you like you put all the things that you'd like to have for yourself, and you make this vision board, and it's like all these pictures of what you want. But like, how much do you really want that stuff? I saw a quote from Mark Manson this morning, like, maybe it's not about doing more, maybe it's about wanting less. Maybe all you need is shade and water. Like, that's like me settled after this camping trip. That's what the conclusion that I came to. But today, this is everything. This is so good. And presently, all I have is like the ute and the swag and the tarp and like the esky. Like real simple. Like I don't actually want to own anything. I don't want to have this like huge investment in property, or like, although I will do all that shit, but like it's not a priority. And getting clear about what you want helps you prioritize. And then once you've actually prioritized and you're getting what you want first, you're going to be more motivated to do the other things. Like, we get resentful and we get like reactive when we feel like we don't get to do what we want, but we're the ones that are stopping us from doing what we want. You can listen to that again. We're the ones that are stopping ourselves from doing what we want. Like, we're making the choices. Your girlfriend's not stopping you, your mum's not stopping you, your dad's not stopping you. Your fucking boss isn't stopping you. Society isn't stopping you. Your government isn't stopping you. There's definitely obstacles there. There's definitely challenges. There's definitely things outside of us that are a part of the experience we call life. But if you make the choice, you set the intention, then you can start to change everything so that it becomes what you want it to be. But as long as you don't set any intention to change anything, you're just looking at everything saying, this is what I get. This is my life. I accept this. That's your choices. You accept what you have and you go, yep, that'll do me. Even if you fucking hate it, you can accept it. Or you can set intention to change things. And I don't know, I guess you keep changing things and you keep making new intentions. And then like, yeah, as you make changes, you reflect, contemplate, is this what I really want? Or now that I've had these experiences and I have all this new information about reality, do I want to create a new intention? And we do that over and over again, probably until we die, and then reincarnate and do it all over again now. But yeah. I'm thinking that there is a place of contentment to reach, like, and you could be there right now if you just accepted where you are right now and you really accepted it without resentment, without reaction, and you were like, yep, this is fucking sweet. I love this. Like, you know, I've been spending time with all different kinds of people and they're like, oh, I envy the lifestyle that you're living in. I'm like, I envy your lifestyle. Like, we're all looking at each other. Like, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. Like, it would be so nice just to have like a secure job, a nice home, a little family, a veggie garden, couple of dogs, like fucking brilliant. But like, I'm changing shit. I'm very quickly setting new intentions and making new changes and just, I don't know, learning about what is possible in this human experience, because I don't know what's possible until I go out and play with reality and have a go. It's fucking fun being a person. Once you realize that you're the one in the driver's seat, and once you really take that fucking steering wheel and you start driving again, don't let like everything else run you. And it's fun. Then yeah, all of those things, depression, anxiety, all that shit falls away once you take control. But it's scary to take control because then you can't blame anything outside yourself. You have to take full responsibility for everything. Your life sucks. It's because you didn't make it not suck. Now it's on you. Are you going to make it not suck? Or are you happy just to stay in the old story where it's everybody else's fault? See, that sounds harsh as fuck. And like a few years ago, I would have been triggered by that. I would have been like, you don't know my circumstances. You don't know how hard it's been. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've seen. And it'd be true. It is true. It's been hectic. I've seen some shit, been through some stuff. Trauma's real. Like, unraveling all of the pain and suffering inside of you is real, but there's ways to do it. The first thing you got to do is set your intention that you're gonna do it though. And sometimes, like, you know, I didn't really listen to content or watch content of people that were where I was at. I didn't go and like watch like somebody who was also struggling with the same problems I was. I went straight to the fucking most inspiring, motivating, incredible stories on this planet and just downloaded that directly into my brain. Like Tony Robbins, Kyle Cease, those were my two favorites. Tony Robbins was the first ever thing that like really like snapped me out of my misery. It was like after a breakup, and I was like, fuck, what have I done with my life really? Like I was in that relationship for 5 years and didn't really like amount to anything. Like I did heaps of shit. Like I've always been like hustling, trying to make something cool happen, trying to make my life worth living, like trying to do this cool story, whatever, all this crazy like motivation. But yeah, I was looking at my life and the first thing I ever saw was that Tony Robbins TED Talk, like the really old one. And it just spoke to me. And then I was just looking for anything like that, anything that would really like just give me a different lens, like, or just like, you know, those kinds of people, they speak differently, they see reality differently, and they have like a totally new perspective that maybe you haven't tried that perspective on before. And yeah, I'd listen to like motivational remixes while I was in the gym. Like I was that guy. Like I don't know, you could probably still find that kind of stuff on YouTube. They got like epic like movie soundtrack music with like Arnold Schwarzenegger speaking about like success and shit. Like I would cram that into my brain and like just be on the treadmill or like lifting weights or whatever. And it might surprise you to know that like I was a gym person. But like I've been a gym person multiple times in my life. Whenever I want to get really in shape, I do use the gym. I get a membership and I, like before Thailand, went to the gym like probably 3 times a week. Spent a good like hour, 90 minutes there. You know, see things like that, like the gym is just a way to fucking accelerate. Like I wouldn't even say that anymore though. I reckon you get just as much out of doing push-ups and jogging on the beach. But if you want to like work all your muscle groups and all that stuff, it's a whole lifestyle. It's really good for your mental health too. I know so many people who have like found meaning and purpose through like just physical activity and like learning how to sculpt their bodies and like be strong and feel strong in themselves. Like if you feel strong physically, you're going to feel stronger mentally. It's just a given. Anyway, I'm all over the place. What am I trying to say? You can do anything. You really can. I believe that, especially in this place that I'm in right now. It's just, this is another thing. Like if you were sitting here, like if you just climbed up this cliff and you were sitting here in this beautiful place, you'd be talking like this too. But if you're sitting in like a dark house with the shades drawn and been listening to like sad music and shit, or I don't know what you've been doing, like watching Netflix for like 20 episodes straight, every time it comes up with that message like, are you still watching? And you feel that like shame, like, oh yeah, I am, I'm just gonna keep watching, I'm gonna order some Uber Eats. Like if you're doing that shit, of course it'd be different. If I was doing that shit, the story would be different. I'd be like, yeah, like I've been watching Netflix all day and my life is sad. Like as above, so below, as within, so without, however it goes. Like what you focus on, you create. Like all that stuff, all those fucking cliches, they are cliches until they are cliches, but like fucking listen. Like, do the stuff, have a go, like, get out there. Like, even if you just go like once a month and just do something cool, or like you just like start to feed your passion, start to feed your creativity, like whatever you actually want to do with your life. Give yourself an hour a month, give yourself an hour a year, like just give yourself something, because nobody else is going to give you anything. Nobody else is going to like go, you know what, you need a holiday, I'm going to give you $10,000 and a Ferrari. You can dream. You can dream. You can imagine. You can live in your imagination. That's one way that people escape. That's one way that I used to escape. Create an imaginary world where everything's amazing. It works to a certain extent, and it will make you happier. I don't know. I'm really hooked on this thing called reality now. It's just good. I just want more of this. More just right here, right now in the present moment. But the present moment is actually awesome. It doesn't have to be hard work. It doesn't have to be sitting on a yoga mat, meditating for hours, just feeling all your shitty feelings. There's another side to that. You go through all your trauma and your suffering and your pain, and it's worth it in the end. Like, it's worth it. It's not the end. It's worth it as you go along. I'm 29. And I'm already like I've done so much of that, all that shitty stuff. It's out of the way. I'm loving life. Maybe I'll have a bad day tomorrow and I'll be like, fuck, this sucks. Like, I'm feeling heartbroken again. I've been triggered off. But like right now, this is proof. Like if you journaled every day too, you'd also realize that you have good days. Like, it's so easy when you get in that pessimistic, negative like cycle to think that you're never happy. Like, I'm never happy, I always feel like this. But you know you have peak experiences. You know that you had a smile on your face at some point. You know that there's things worth living for. You know that there's people that you fucking love their guts and you just want to have the best times with them, and you're going to. It's going to be awesome. I feel like I'm speaking very specifically to those people who need to hear like a message of like positivity and epicness. Like just remember, there's nothing that needs to change really. Just remember that you can have a good day and that life can be awesome. You can create that for yourself any moment, even if it takes all the energy out of you to get yourself out on an adventure. And it's like after it, you fucking tuck it out and you don't want to deal with going outside ever again. Like that kind of feeling. Like you go out on a mad like hike in nature. You walk for 3 hours, you find a waterfall, you go for a skinny dip, and like you eat some sandwiches that have gone all soggy on the walk, and you're getting bitten by mosquitoes and leeches and it's so hectic, but you're laughing the whole time. And when you get home, you're like, I fucking did some shit. Like, you know, it's not about like everything being perfect and easy. It's about fucking doing shit and living. And having these experiences, like being a part of nature and being a part of the world, like so that you don't feel alien to it, and it's easy for you to do shit like this. Like it just feels natural to climb up a cliff and start talking shit, or it feels natural to hike through the wilderness or through the desert, or you know, you don't have to take it to the extremes that I take it to. You can totally just go for a walk in your local park. But like everybody's gonna have a different spectrum of possibility and like what makes them happy and what's too much for them. You know yourself, like you know what you want. Go and get it. Go and create it. Like this video for me, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and you can check out the links in the description below for more really cool stuff that is, yeah, it helps make everything more awesome. And I'll see you again very shortly.